Hello, Facebook Live. Hello, good evening. Soribel Martinez here. Let's see, let's share this. Hello. We'll see who's going to come on live to my class tonight. Hello, beautiful ladies. Let's see who's gonna come on. If you are live, tell me where you're connecting from. I am in Connecticut. Where are you connecting from? Hello, lady. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Finally, you catch me live, lady. So, hello, everyone. Soribel Martinez here. I am your sex therapist and coach, sex educator. And I am here today for day 1 of our masterclass, Manifest More Sex, More Intimacy, More Pleasure in Your Life. And today is day number 1 of our class. And I want to welcome you. Hi from Miami. You know, the heat, the beautiful weather here. It's cold and it's raining. So today is day number 1 of Manifest More Sex, More Intimacy, More Pleasure in Your Life. And I want to invite you to get some water and get a notebook and get your favorite pen. Please get some tea if you want to, coffee. Get your notebook so you can take some notes tonight because we are going to be learning a lot today. And I want you to pay close attention because this video is not going to stay in social media. This is something that I'm going to pull down on Friday morning. And I'm going to package it with a workbook to be sold on my website, soribelmartinez.com. So I want to make sure that you take notes, take advantage of the information. It's a lot of content tonight and it's a lot of value. And I want you to take advantage of it because it's going to be amazing. Every time I teach, I learn. And I continuously reprogram my own mind about what sexuality is all about and what it is that I want to experience in my sex life. Good evening, Marcia. How are you? Welcome, ladies. Let me know when you're ready, where you're connecting from. If you are now watching in this moment and you're watching the replay, #replay. Oh, nice. Marcia designs cups and she has designed one for me so I can use on my videos. Send it to me, Marcia. I'll go pick it up soon. Thank you very much for that. Here I have my notes because I want to make sure that I stay focused in what it is that I'm going to teach you tonight. Welcome. Again, this is Soribel Martinez. I am a licensed clinical psychotherapist in the state of Connecticut, but I'm also a sex therapist and a sex coach. And what I do is I help women embrace their sexuality with confidence so they can have more sex, more intimacy, more pleasure in their lives without feeling guilty or shame. So you can manifest and create the sex life of your dreams because we deserve it. And you get to have more orgasms if that it is what you want and desire in your life. Alrighty, so let's start. Again, the class tonight is Manifest More Sex, More Intimacy, More Pleasure in Your Life. And it's going to be 3 days. And today I'm going to focus on identifying your sex limiting beliefs, right? Because it's very important that we are rewiring, reprogramming, unlearning all the limiting ideas and beliefs that we were taught early on in life, about sex, sexuality, and what is it that women get to experience in the bedroom. So we no longer are going to be okay with just being comfortable. We experiencing what everybody else thinks we should experience, but rather we are going to begin to redesign, recreate, and manifest the sex life, the intimacy, and the pleasure that we want to experience in our lives, whether if it's solo with ourselves or with our partners, okay? Because a lot of women are single, a lot of women are in relationships, and other women are married. So it doesn't matter if you are single, if you're married, it doesn't matter the title in your relationship. You get to have, you get to experience, you get to enjoy whatever level of sex, intimacy, and pleasure that you want in your life. And a lot of times when I come and I'm teaching, people think that we are going to talk about technical stuff. What is it that you should be doing in the bedroom? Do this, do that. That stuff I teach my clients more in a private, in my private programs. But here we get to learn more about our mindset. What is it that we need to do to change, right? To change, to shift, to change the learning that we have had, or the lack of education, sex education we had in the past, that has kept us women from really having and enjoying the level of intimacy, sex, and pleasure that we really deserve, because we really deserve it. And I'm going to invite you to share this video if you want to. If you feel called to, share this video, because I'm telling you, a lot of women are going through the same things, right? Women who are faking orgasms, women who are performing in the bedroom because they've been watching pornography, and pornography teaches certain things without saying anything. And we think that that's the way that we should engage in sexual interactions with others. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for us, and we are left hanging, and we are left without being able to really enjoy and experience the sex activity, the level of sex that we really deserve and what we want, because we are being taught the wrong information. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily only what you do in the bedroom that's going to give you the pleasure and the satisfaction that you're looking for. What's going to really give you what you need in your sex life is what you learn. It's the work that you do internally to change that mindset, to change your beliefs and ideas that are keeping you away from having the sex life that you deserve. We need to learn how to eliminate the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back from enjoying and having a powerful sex life, right? Because we've been taught that sex is not that important, that you are married and you're in a relationship and your man is going to go find somebody else and do with somebody else the things that you wish he was doing with you. So we are wanting to change that story. We need to change those ideas and those beliefs, because it doesn't matter if you're single or if you're married, you can have satisfaction in your sex life. You can have amazing, great, powerful sex with yourself or with your partner. And it doesn't matter if you've been married for 2 years or if you've been married for 40 years, your sex life can be on fire. And the way you do that is by learning how to change the beliefs and the idea that have been passed on to you from your previous generation, from your ancestors, that really haven't allowed us to really enjoy our bodies and haven't given us permission to enjoy the sex at the level that we would like to do it. So grab your pencil, grab your paper, because we are going to start getting deeper into some of these things. So the first thing that we need to do is that we need to unwrite and undo the learning. We have to undo the mindset from our past generations and from our ancestors and the women who raised us, the women who did not taught us the level of sex education that we needed to really have and enjoy a healthy sex life. They didn't do it purposely. It was not done on purpose. It's what they were taught or what they didn't learn that they passed on to us because that's all they knew. So at the end of the day, we learn from our environment. Whether if the words being used or there's no words being used, as children, young girls, young women, we are sponges. We learn from the environment. We learn from our moms and our parents' behaviors. We learn from the things that we hear. We learn from the things that we see. We create stories in our minds about things that we hear, we see, and we experience about sexuality and about sex. So the taboo and the limitations of communication and education about sexuality has really created these ideas and learning that really doesn't serve us anymore. So it is our responsibility for these generations moving forward that we are learning all that we need to learn about sexuality, about sex, about relationships, so we can bring that into our lives and we can bring that change and transformation to the next generation, to our children, to your grandchildren, to our nieces, to our nephews, to the youth out there, that they're really making decisions that are sound and decisions that are made from a place of education and understanding, not because of from a place of ignorance, because, oh my God, sex is such a bad thing. We shouldn't have sex. Sex is bad. Wrong. Sex is great. Sex is amazing. Sexuality is empowering. It's a wonderful thing that has been given to us. However, sex was created for adults. Adults engage in sexual activities, and we have to reframe and we have to rephrase these conversations so we are not sending the wrong information, so we're not creating fear in our youth and our people, because that is what create what's happening today with women. Misunderstanding about sexuality, about sex, not being able to connect intimately with our partners, not being able to have the level of sex that we desire to have. So one of the things that we have to begin working on is becoming fully aware about what it is that sexuality and sex is all about. Awareness is always the first step to change and transformation. Because when you become aware that there is a problem, that there is an issue, that there is a lack, that I'm missing something, we have the capacity to begin the change, and we begin the transformation that needs to happen so we can have the sex life of our dreams. So awareness is the first step. And why awareness? Because as we grow older, we begin to have behaviors that allow us to keep us victimized. Whether if we have experienced negative sexual encounters with partners and friends and boyfriends and husbands and lovers, or we were sexually tainted or molested, right? Which is a very terrible thing to happen to us. We sometimes become victimized. We become victimized and we create a mindset of a victim rather than a mindset of someone who is empowering. Someone who's empowered to recognize that they are wounded, that something terrible has happened to them, and that there's time for healing, and that we need to move forward into the healing process. So the first step into the awareness is sometimes we are in that victimizing mentality. We are victimized. We feel victim of circumstances, and we stay stuck in those places. The second awareness is empowering ourselves. and recognizing that there's something wrong or there's something that's not going the way that we would like them to be. That the results that we are experiencing in our sex life is not necessarily what we want. And we empower ourselves to educate ourselves, to read a book, to go to a class like this one, to hire a coach, to hire a sex therapist, to work on our healing process. Why? Because if we stay in our victim mindset, we stay stuck. And we don't give ourselves permission to grow and to change and to heal and to transform those areas. In this case, our sex education or sex mentality. We don't get to change it because we are sitting in our victimized mentality. And we have to move to the empowering mentality, empower ourselves to make a change. The next step will be to surrender to change and transformation. Change and transformation can be very painful. It could be very hard for us to recognize that, you know what, I am suffering. I cannot be intimate with my man, with my husband. I don't feel comfortable in the bedroom. I feel inadequate. I feel like I can't enjoy intimacy. I've been avoiding intimacy. I've been traumatized by situations in my life that have taken away from the power that I have to engage in healthy, loving, amazing sexual encounters and connections with my partner. So we have to surrender to the change and the transformation, even when the change and the transformation can be painful. The change and the transformation can be, sometimes it can make you feel like it's breaking you down, right? We have to surrender to it. We have to surrender to finding someone to give us a hand, to support us, to help us in that process. That is very, very important. And finally, becoming aware is to really allowing yourself to emerge into that change, into that healing, into understanding that if you are not experiencing the sex and the intimacy and the pleasure that you would like to have, that it's okay to self-evaluate, that it's okay to admit that there's something going on that needs to be changed and transformed, and that doesn't make you a bad person, that doesn't make you an alien, that doesn't make you inadequate, that simply you are allowing yourself to recognize that there is a moment in time right now where I need to make a change and I need to make a transformation. So quite often I hear from women saying, you know, I've been in a relationship and I've been performing in my sex encounters with my husband or my partner. I've been faking an orgasm and I have never experienced an orgasm in my life. I'm not connected. I've been avoiding going to bed because I don't want him to touch me. I don't feel comfortable because I cannot relax enough. I am concerned and worried about my body. I am concerned and worried about what he's going to think about me. I am worried and concerned about, you know, how inadequate I'm going to look. I don't have the self-confidence that I need to enjoy and relax in the moment and be present in that moment. So that is what allows us to be in that process of becoming aware. Awareness is very, very important in this process. A lot of times you may be blaming yourself for your sexual experiences. Have you ever blamed yourself and internalized and have really negative conversations with yourself about yourself? And you put yourself down thinking that you're not good enough, that you're not sexy enough, that you're not beautiful enough, that maybe your partner is not attracted to you, and you are constantly having this negative narrative in your head. And you get really in your head about what is supposed to be the truth. And you create this negative conversation in your head about why you can't enjoy sex, why your partner may not be enjoying sex with you. So you have to give yourself permission to be aware, to become aware, to awaken to that process of leaving your victimized mentality behind, empowering yourself, right? Surrendering to change and transformation, and finally becoming fully aware by understanding that the results that you are experiencing in your life, you no longer want those results, and that you have the responsibility, you have the power to change those results. How? By changing your mindset, by changing the way you've been thinking about sex and sexuality, changing the way that you've been thinking about yourself and your partner, changing the way that you have been processing information, right? Thinking that you need to fake it in order to not feel inadequate in the bedroom, because you may feel guilty, you may feel bad, you may feel weird that you may not reach an orgasm, that your partner may look at you differently because you're not reaching an orgasm when you are having intercourse with him. All of these things are part of the process of awareness and awakening to understanding what's happening to you and how you can change that. What are the resources that you need in order to begin that process of healing so you can get to the place where sex, intimacy, and pleasure are important and you are truly experiencing them from a place of being genuine, something that is genuine, something that you really feel, something that you really encounter, that you really experience, rather than having to fake it and then feel bad afterward because you're really not fulfilled. Sometimes not taking responsibility 100% for your sexuality and the experiences that you have in your sex encounters and your sexual activities is one problem that I see with women. Women quite often wanna, oh, he doesn't please me. He doesn't give me an orgasm. He doesn't make me feel well. He. But rather, instead of pointing the finger over there, let's look internally of what it is that is going on. What is my part in it? Not in a judgmental way, of course, but being the gentle observer of what is going on with you in your sex life and how you can make some changes so you can get to experience what it is that you want to experience. So taking 100% responsibility, and stop blaming yourself or blaming others, but rather looking for solutions. What is the solution? What is the next step that I need to do? Once I become aware, once I do a self-reflection, once I notice where I'm at in that process, am I a victim of my circumstances? Am I empowering myself? Am I surrendering to change and transformation? Doesn't matter how hard it is. Am I fully aware of what is going on in my life and what I need to do to make a difference in my sex life, in my relationship, and my relationship with me? Because singleness is the most important relationship that a woman can have with herself. You having a healthy, loving, empowering relationship with yourself is what is going to allow you to step up and show up fully to those other relationships. Women are often scared of being alone. They go and we jump from one relationship to another. We break up with this person and we find the next relationship without allowing ourselves to heal, to see, to notice, to analyze what has gotten us to that place. And is that the place that we want to be, or we want to be somewhere else? And how do we get to that place where we feel comfortable, we feel empowered, we feel fulfilled in that relationship, in the sex and in everything else? So ask yourself that question. Where am I in the process of awareness? Where am I? Write it down. And for those who are going to receive the workbook, you get to think about it and identify in your workbook Where am I in the process of awareness? Am I a victim? Am I empowering myself? Am I surrendering to change and transformation? Am I fully aware of what is going on in my life? I always say, if you don't like the result that you see, if you don't like the results that you see in your sex life, if you don't feel comfortable anymore with what it is that the way that you're showing up and the way that your partner is showing up in the relationship, make a change. It's the only thing that's going to allow you to see something different, is making a change, doing something different. If you continue to do what you've been doing for the past 20 years, for the past 10 years, for the five years, faking your orgasms and pretending that you're happy and that you're fulfilled and you're not, you will continuously create the same pattern of behavior and the same patterns of results. So that was step number 1, is becoming fully aware of what is going on in your sex life. It's very, very important. Awareness is always the first step to anything that we want to achieve in life, including your goals in your sex life and in your relationship with yourself and with your partner. If you have any questions, you can leave them here. Hello. Leave your questions here. And if they're very personal and you don't want to leave them here, you can always send me a private message and then I can answer them without giving your name. Okay. The next step into really identifying your limiting belief is questioning what is a belief and what is a fact. A lot of times we are driving our life just based on beliefs. And we believe a lot of things. We believe things that, oh my God, they're so irrational. They're very not real. They're just a belief. And those limiting beliefs have been driving the results and the experiences that we encounter in our everyday life and in our sex life and in our relationships. So become aware of your thoughts around what sex is, what intimacy is, and what pleasure is. You see, if your thoughts are very negative, if your thoughts are not sex positive, if your thoughts about sex and sexuality and pleasure and orgasm is negative, unfortunately, the experience that you're going to create in your everyday life or when you encounter sexual moments with yourself or with your partner, they're going to be negative as well. So when you have a negative thought or a thought in your head about something related to your sex life, you always want to question it and ask yourself, is this a fact or is this a belief? If it's a belief, we can question the belief. We can ask ourselves, is that really true? Is it really true that I can only achieve an orgasm through intercourse? Is it true that I can only achieve an orgasm with my partner? Is it true that it's bad, that it's a sin, that it's wrong to masturbate? Those are beliefs. Those are ideas that someone else from the past taught you and you believed it. Because you were a child, because you were young, and because we believed the people who taught us. We believed them fully. But now that we are adults, we get to question the beliefs. We get to ask ourselves, is this true? Or is this a fact? Or is this just a belief? Something that someone else passed down to me, and I got to believe it without questioning it if it was true or not. So that is very important. Also, become aware of what are the most consistent thoughts around sex. Either positive, either negative, or they're avoidant. So think about when you think about your partner coming home. What is that thought that comes to your head? I'm going to bed early because I don't want him to touch me tonight. Oh, I don't want him to hug me. I don't want him to touch me. I don't want him to be affectionate with me. I don't want him to want intimacy. I don't want him to ask me for sex. So I'm going to do everything possible to avoid that moment. Well, maybe I'm going to go into the shower into the bathroom until he falls asleep. Maybe you will stay downstairs and do the laundry at nighttime or do the dishes in the kitchen because you're avoiding that moment. Be aware of what are the most consistent thoughts around sex. Are they positive? Are they negative? Or are you avoiding something? You see, quite often when women has experienced a negative sexual encounter or sexual trauma in their lives, they will avoid intimacy because it's a way of pushing the person away. And this is not conscious. A lot of time it's subconscious. It's a behavior that's driven by fear, by avoidance, by not wanting to re-experience an event that probably happened to them in the past. But guess what? We get to look at it, we get to become aware, and we get to choose to change it. And that is very important in the work that we do. Open your mind to the possibility of experience, of a healthy sexual experience, healthier and more satisfying sex life. Change the narrative in your head. Change the conversation. When you're having these thoughts that are negative and they're not accurate, question them and then try to change the belief. Try to change the story that's happening in your mind. How do you do that? By tapping into new thoughts, new beliefs, new ideas, and facts. Read a book, come to a class, get a coach, get a therapist where you can really learn and get more information about the truth of sexuality, sex, intimacy, pleasure, and what you get to experience in the bedroom that gives you a positive experience that allows you to have a healthy, satisfying sex life. Question those thoughts. Don't believe everything that you hear. When you were a child, you didn't have the power to reject that information. But today, you get to reject the information that no longer serves you in a positive way in your sex life and in your relationships. Okay, so something really important that we want to do is to find the root cause of your thoughts and your beliefs. Where did you learn those things from? Was it your mom? Was it your dad? Did you watch a movie or a telenovela, a soap opera? Maybe somebody says something about sex or sexuality that you heard and you created your own thoughts through your perception. You see, sometimes we watch something, we hear something, we process the information, and we get to create a story about that. And that story, that the meaning that we give to that story or to that experience is the belief that drove that experience to you. So if as a woman you think that all the men are taken, that there's no good men in the world, well, the meaning that you gave to a particular experience, because you went out on a date, and you had a negative experience on that date, and then you're like, you know what, all the good men are taken. Well, if you gave that meaning to that experience, most likely you will continue to experience the same kind of situations because you have internalized and you have given that a meaning. And the meaning that you gave to that is the belief that you have in your thought process. Because it could have been like, oh my God, this guy didn't work. We didn't have anything in common. Next. Where is the next guy? Where am I going to go next? Where is the next date versus all the guys are taken and I'm going to stay alone forever? So make sure that you identify in your workbook, for those that are going to have access to your workbook, or you that are here live and taking notes, ask yourself, where did I get that belief? Who taught me that masturbation was wrong? Who said something at church? Maybe the pastors was preaching and said that it was a sin to masturbate. That was wrong. It was bad. That you will go to hell if you self-explore your body. If you self-pleasure. That was wrong. You will go to hell because that is something that is against the Bible, God, the religion, whatever that may be. You have to identify and understand where that belief comes from. And then you have to question it and you have to see if it's a fact or if it's indeed just a belief. If it is just a belief, you get to change it. You get to change a belief. And this is why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you. Because, Soribel, I can't have an orgasm. I can't relax enough in bed with my husband. I can't pleasure. I can't explore my body. Well, because you have limiting beliefs in your mind, in yourself, that says that something is wrong. And if you believe that something is wrong, that you're doing something wrong, you are not going to give yourself permission to enjoy it. You are not going to give yourself permission to pleasure. You are not going to relax enough so you can enjoy the moment and be present, because your mind is going to be negative and is going to be thinking about that one thing that is wrong. So, finding the basis of your thoughts and behaviors is really important. Where did you learn that from? Write that in your notebook. Who did you learn it from? And maybe it's not going to come to you right now in this moment, but maybe you're going to be doing your dishes tomorrow and it's going to come to your head, a story or a movie that you watch or something that your mom told you, or maybe your mom found you exploring your body when you were young. And she made a big deal out of it. And she told you that that was wrong, that that was disgusting and nasty, that you're not supposed to be touching your private areas, right? So get to identify where your thoughts and behaviors come from. Where did you learn them from? What is your family beliefs and ideas about sex and sexuality? Okay? Did your mom talk to you about sex? Was it a taboo? Was it wrong to talk about it? Was it even wrong to be affectionate in your household? Was your mom and your dad affectionate, or that was wrong too? Get to do the work, get deep into your thoughts about these issues, because this is what's holding you back from really having the sex life that you want. Unless that you have a medical issue, it's in your mind and it's in your psychic, and this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to free you from those limitations so you can fully embrace, so you can fully relax, so you can fully enjoy what it is for you to enjoy and have. Okay. Change the quality of your thoughts, right? We go right back to that. Change the quality of your thoughts. If the quality of your thoughts about sex, they're poor, the manifestation of your sex life is going to be poor. It's going to be limited. It's going to be negative. It's not going to be positive. You're going to avoid wanting to have sex. You're going to avoid wanting to go to bed with your husband. Why? Because the quality of your sex are very, very negative. And I have these notes here so I don't forget anything. So your beliefs are very powerful in your life. It's what drives you. Our beliefs drive us. Whether if they're positive beliefs or negative beliefs, they're driving us every day. Positive beliefs provoke positive thoughts. Positive thoughts are going to provoke positive behaviors. And your behaviors are going to produce the results in your life. So questioning your thoughts, questioning the facts and the beliefs is very, 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 very important. Okay? So, the last thing that I want to talk about is your perception and your attitude about sexuality, right? So if your attitude and your belief about sexuality are, again, tainted, negative, wrong, inappropriate, you don't have the appropriate sexual information, or your sex education is limited, what's going to happen is that your attitude towards sex is also going to be limited. It's going to be negative. So when your partner comes and he wants to engage in sex and he wants to have pleasure and he wants to be intimate with you, your attitude is going to be very negative and you're going to reject him. And when he feels rejected, that is going to also create a negative response. And when he gets that negative response to you, then you are going to feel a certain type of way. And then your self-esteem is going to get hurt. Your self-confidence is going to get hurt. And then you're going to fall into that cycle of going over and over and over and over and over again, right? Because it's a cycle. A negative thought provokes a negative emotion and a negative attitude towards something. That negative thing is going to provoke a negative behavior, negative conversation. And that is going to provoke a negative result. Contrary to that, if you have a positive attitude, right? A positive perception about sex, if you are thinking about sex in the context of something good, positive, amazing, you love your husband, you're attracted to him, you want to be with him, you can't wait to get home to be in his presence, then what's going to happen is that's going to provoke an emotion that's going to be positive, and it's going to provoke you to want to have other kind of conversations that provoke intimacy and maybe touch or intimacy, and conversations about sex and about intimacy, and you wanting him and he wanting you. And then that is going to activate your thought process. It's going to activate the hormones and the chemicals in your brain to get released, and then you're going to feel things, and the juices in your body are going to start flowing. And that is going to provoke you wanting to be more intimate, and then the response from your partner is most likely going to be positive as well. Before you accept any belief or idea about sex and sexuality, because it does affect your perception and your attitude, you have to make sure you examine, review, think about that information before you accept it as truth. Even the information that I'm giving to you, you should analyze it and thinking about it. Because what happens is, if you accept this information as truth, it becomes part of your belief system. And that belief system will impact your sex life either in a positive way or in a negative way. Correct? So before you accept anything as truth, ask yourself if this is a fact or this is a truth. A fact is that women desire to have sex. Why? Because research has shown over and over and over that women have a desire to have sex. Problem is that women quite often, by the report, are not engaged in positive thinking about sex and sexuality and their partners. They're constantly very negative. Their thoughts are very negative, and they're also very distracted with everything else in life, which are very important things like our children, work, our business, our parents, society, our community. All of that is important, but your sex life is also important. Having intimacy with your partner is important. That is a fact, because that improves the quality of your relationship. That improves the quality of how you relate and you connect with your partner. Correct? Okay. So how do we begin to reprogram those negative beliefs and ideas? Step number one, like I said in the beginning, you need to see where you are at in the process of awareness, awakening, awareness about the problem. Are you a victim? Are you empowering yourself? Are surrendering to change and transformation? Are you working on becoming fully aware about your problem, your issue, and ways that you can change that? Also, think about what are some of the beliefs that I have about sex and sexuality. So grab your pen and pencil, and I'm going to give you a few things that you can do as homework so you can work on these things. Because reprogramming and unlearning the things that we have learned is very important. If you don't do that, it's going to be really hard for you to create a new attitude and a new perception about sex, sexuality, and your relationship with yourself and with your partner. Who did I learn that belief around sex or sexuality? Like sex is bad, masturbation is bad, pleasure is wrong, self-pleasure is wrong. Who did you learn that from? Write it down. Think about a situation that happened, something that you heard, something that you encountered, that you gave a meaning to that particular experience or the words that you heard, of the conversation that you heard, and what kind of belief did it create in you? What are those beliefs? Who did I learn that belief from? What was the situation? What was the experience? And what was the meaning that I gave that particular situation? And how did it is impacting my sex life today? So who did I get it from? Where did I get it from? What was the situation? And why did I choose to believe and continue to believe that? Because you have put some levels of faith in that information. You have taken that belief as truth and you have faith in it, right? So who gave it to you? Where do you get it from? Why do you have so much faith in it? And how is it impacting and guiding you in your sex life? How is it showing up in your sex life? How is that belief manifesting itself in your sexual experiences? You must create a new belief around sexuality and sex. New empowering beliefs. Why they have to be empowering? Because they have to be positive. They have to guide you to something new, to something greater, to something better. To more sex, to more intimacy, to more pleasure, to more orgasm, to more connections with your partner, to improving your self-confidence in the bedroom. So think about a belief like, well, it's wrong for me to self-pleasure. Well, where did I learn that from? Well, I learned it from my mom. She taught me that. She found me one day in the bathroom, self-pleasuring when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And she yelled at me. She screamed at me. She was very upset at me. And the meaning that I gave to that experience is that self-pleasure is wrong. It's disgusting. It's nasty. And I have no business touching my vulva or my vagina. So that's the belief. That's the meaning. Well, how is that manifesting itself in your relationship? How is it showing up? Well, how it's showing up is that now my partner would love to see me self-pleasure. And when he does that, when he asks me that, I get nervous. I get anxious. Sometimes I get mad. Sometimes I get embarrassed. I get shame when I do it. I do it because I want to please him. But in the side of my head, I have my mom voice telling me how disgusting and nasty that was. So now I do it. And instead of enjoying it and having pleasure, what happened is that I fake that I have an orgasm. I fake it so he doesn't, he doesn't think of me like I'm weird or awkward, or I'm not into him, right? Because when I have done things like that before, he says that I'm not really into him. So you see how one experience, one belief, one idea, one experience, one something is really creating this issue in your sex life. It's creating this whole problem in your sexuality, in your sex life, in your intimacy with your partner. That's how these beliefs are created, and then they manifest themselves in our relationship or in yourself, because maybe you want to self-pleasure, but you feel weird, you feel uncomfortable, you feel inadequate, you feel awkward, you feel disgusting, you feel nasty, you feel like you're doing something wrong. So then you self-pleasure and you spend 1 week feeling bad and putting yourself down and talking negative to yourself, right? So this empowering you limiting belief is the key. You have to take away the power. You have to discredit the belief by questioning it the way that we did here. Well, is it true? Is it a fact? Or is it just a belief? Because the meaning that you gave to that belief is what attracted the experience that you have right now in your relationship. So taking away the power from that limiting belief is you becoming aware of where you are in the process. What is your mindset? What is your level of awareness? Second, you get to question it and you get to see what is the belief or if it's a fact, and you question that. You begin to identify, where did you get that from? Who did you learn it from? And why do you believe so much in it? Why are you giving so much power to it? And then you take that power away by creating a new belief, a new empowering belief. So if the belief was that self-pleasure is wrong, the new belief could be, I deserve to self-pleasure because I was created a sexual being. I deserve self-pleasure because I was creating a sexual being. My body is mine and it's for me to explore. It's for me to understand my body. It's for me to look at my body. It's for me to understand what makes me feel good in the context of sexuality and sex and intimacy and pleasure. So take away the power that you have given these limiting beliefs and create a new story. Creating that new story is going to allow you to enjoy and have more sex, intimacy, and pleasure in your life. I know that what you want me to tell you is how many strokes you need to do, the positions that you need to do in the bedroom. That's probably what you wish that I will be teaching you today. But the reality is that if you don't do this work, it doesn't matter how many positions you do in the bedroom. It doesn't matter how much sex you have with your partner. You will continue to fake your orgasms. You will continue to perform. You will continue to feel inadequate. You will continue to not feel good. And you will never have a genuine, amazing, powerful, juicy, sexy, sexual experience. And you deserve to have a genuine one that you truly say, wow, I had an orgasm today with my man, or I had an orgasm with I had an amazing orgasm with myself. Hello, dear. Nice to see you. How are you? Nice to see you here. Okay. So today, the topic was Identifying the limiting belief, the sex limiting beliefs. Okay? And tomorrow, I'm going to talk about how to become a sexually empowered goddess. But to become a sexually empowered goddess, you have to do step number 1. So if you are watching the replay, which is going to come down on Friday, I encourage you to take a notebook and answer some of the questions and do some of the journaling prompts that I share with you. Because this is going to go down, and I'm going to have this on my website along with a workbook where I'm going to take you step by step through the homework and the journaling prompts so you can begin to shift, unlearn, and reprogram your mindset around sex and sexuality. Hi, Paula. How are you? Nice to have you here. You made it. I know. You can watch the replay and, take some note, Deyanira. I think it would really serve you a lot. It serves us, all of us. We never know too much. We always learn something new. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? You can give them to me here. If they're very private, you can always send me a private message and I will gladly answer that for you. Remember that tomorrow I come back. I'm going to come back at 7:00 p.m. tomorrow because I have a client at 8, unfortunately. So I'm going to come at 7:00 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern time. And I'm going to talk about what are some of the things that you need to do to become a sexually empowered goddess. Remember, the 3 days masterclass is about manifesting more sex, intimacy, and sexual pleasures in your life. The first step was talking about here, the mindset. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to become that empowered, how to become that sexually empowered goddess. How to do that. What is it that we need to do that? What is it that we need to tap into? What is the manifestation process that you have to get into so you can become the woman that you want to be, so you can show up in the bedroom with the self-confidence that you desire to have, so you can enjoy more sex, intimacy, and pleasure with yourself or with your partner. Either way, you are fine. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Again, if you don't know me, my name is Soribel Martinez. I am a licensed clinical psychotherapist. I am a sex therapist and a sex coach for women. And I help women embrace their sexuality with confidence so they can have and enjoy more sex, intimacy, and pleasure in their lives without feeling guilty or shame. And you get to have more orgasms, multiple orgasms, if that's what you desire. So I will see you tomorrow. Adios, adios. Besitos, besitos. Ciao.